All right, today we're going to be continuing with our series, How to Double Your Income. Today I'm going to be talking specifically about recruiters. I'm redoing this video because the last video didn't have very good audio, and I'm going to add a little bit of juice to this video, so you're going to get something out of it, especially if you're working for a recruiting agency today. So one of the things that I did, and this is something that you can implement this week. One of the things that I did is when I had an interview with a candidate, when I was done, I would ask for their resume. Now their resume, this is where all the gold is. You'd be shocked. This is where all the money is, right there in the resume. So sit down with them over coffee. I would use their resume and go over their work history. So what some people do is they're trying to figure out if this person is a good character. Maybe he has good morals. Maybe he did something that was really special with the company, all this kind of stuff. And they ask those questions, which is, it's fine to do that. But what I was doing was I was trying to see how many warm leads could I get from this one resume. That was my goal. My goal was to get 10 warm leads after a cup of coffee with one candidate. That was my goal, is to get 10 warm leads, because I didn't want to be cold calling people. It's okay at the beginning when you're new at the organization. Sometimes they'll give you leads that are cold, or maybe they're 2 years old, or whatever it is, on a spreadsheet or whatever is usually what happens. As a recruiter, it's a lot easier to cold call, I find, or I found. So you have a candidate, you go out for coffee, you have a look at their resume, you sit down with them, and they tell you a little bit about their work history. And then what you could do is you go back, say they had a job, I don't know, 2010 to 2016 with so-and-so company. Yes, that is a company name, so-and-so. You never heard of it? And then from 2016 to 2020, they were with such and such. Remember, my goal is to get 10 warm leads. So what I would do is I would ask them, okay, so did you have a manager that you worked under? Actually, at so-and-so, I had 3 managers. Okay. And which one did you report to? I reported to Bill. Okay. So who are the other 2? Bill, Ted, and Tom. And they may not give you this. But just for example, so out of those 3 managers, again, this is confidential, but which one, if you ever had a chance to work with again, which one would you work with? You might say, well, Bill was pretty good. He treated me pretty good. They all weren't too bad, but Bill and Ted were pretty good. We used to have excellent adventures with those guys. Anyways, so then you think about that for that company, and then you say, okay, how many engineers were there? Well, there was actually 10 of us. 10 engineers at that company. Okay. Are they still there, or has it changed? Because that was 2016. Do you keep in touch with any of them? Yeah, some of them I do, some I don't. Some have moved on to other things. Oh, okay. Okay, so you keep in touch with them. That's cool. And then with such and such, what about there? How many managers did you work under there? Just 1? How many engineers did they have? 6. Okay. So what was the dynamic there? Like the working relationship, how was it? Like, and you got to ask them questions so you don't look like you're stalking them for information. But you can ask what the culture is, because for the person that you have, the employee or the company that you're working with right now, you might want to know if this candidate is a fit. So you ask them what the culture is like. Oh, it's pretty good. You know, the manager made it really good and all this kind of stuff. And Bill and Ted were awesome. And the engineers were pretty good. I just felt like I needed a little bit more. I needed better pay, whatever it is. And you just ask them questions. And then when you're done, you're like, can you send me your references? I need 4 to 6 references. We're very thorough. Some of them might say 6 is a lot, but I can give you for sure 4. Or they might say, yeah, that's fine. So when you get those references, you can give them a call and you go through the same thing. You ask them questions about this candidate, and then you ask them questions maybe about their job history, who they work for. If you find, this is what I would run into every once in a while, is, let's just say from those references, one of them happens to be from so-and-so who works there right now. Maybe he worked there from 2018 to 2022 at so-and-so. You're like, oh, okay, how many engineers do they have there? They used to have 10, but now they have 6 engineers. Oh, what happened? Well, 4 left because the culture isn't very good there. That should be an alarm bell for you, saying that from so-and-so, they're losing engineers. So maybe out of that, you can actually place people, other candidates that you might have. And what I would do is I wouldn't place my best candidates in there. I would be placing my C candidates. So if you have candidates that are like superstars, and then you have the rock stars, then you have candidates that are a little bit tougher to place. I should say rock stars. And then you have superstars. And then you have the average people, which they're just hard to place. But you can place them within that company. And you can work out some kind of a deal with them. Maybe you don't take as high of a commission off of this, but you're actually helping such and such, and you're helping so-and-so. And all of a sudden, before you know it, that's from one candidate. You now have over 10 warm leads. Because you have the engineers, you have managers that they used to work for. They have engineers, or you have engineers that you can contact. And then you also have references. So you probably have 10 to 20 warm leads from one candidate. Say you slice that in half and you only had 10 warm leads. Imagine meeting for coffee each day with a candidate that you're going to be placing, and you're doing this every time with their resume. And don't make it creepy. It's not the goal. But you are trying to get some warm leads. Then, when you're done with everything, because you've basically milked everything in there, what you can do then is, after you place them, you go back to that candidate and you have another cup of coffee, and you're like, do you know, like, I'm looking for 2 to 4 people that I could help right now. Right now. Who do you know? Especially if you did a good job in placing them. 2 to 4 people. So this is still your first candidate. You haven't done any cold calling or anything. All you've done is you just went through their resume quite thoroughly. You got a couple of names for companies that you can call. And then you said, how's it going with their new company, which is, I don't know, Bob's Engineering or something like that. This is the new company. And you're like, how's that going? Good. Okay, so how many engineers do they have there? Well, they have 16 engineers. It's a huge company. Thank you for that. Okay, how many hiring managers, or how many managers? They have 4. Awesome. And clearly they are working with you already, because that is your client that you referred a candidate to. And you find out obviously that they have 16. Hopefully you knew that before. But let's just say they said, hey, you know what? Thank you for replacing this guy. We need somebody else because we are expanding to 20 engineers. We have a couple more projects on the go. So that is all from one candidate and one client. So that's how you can double your income. And that's just one strategy. One. And that's resumes. Just using resumes. And you can go on to Indeed. You can go on to Monster. You can go everywhere and find resumes. And then you just call them up. Hey, I don't have anything for you right now, but if I were to find something for you, are there any companies that you would consider working with? Yeah, I like so-and-so and such and Bob's whatever. Oh, okay, I've actually placed people with Bob's. And then, would you mind forwarding your resume, and do you have any references? 4 to 6 references would be cool. Even if you don't place that person, you're now having another 4 to 6 conversations with somebody that you've never met, and they've given you references in case you find them a job. You could do this all day long, I'm telling you, just by combing through old resumes. As soon as you get to the office, like, hey, do you have any resumes on file? Yeah, we got like hundreds of resumes in the past couple of years. Sometimes people will take a stack of resumes for a job. I would take that all day long. Give me all your resumes. It's amazing. Like, people have databases of resumes that they comb over, and they're like, no, not qualified, not qualified. They only have 2. We need 4 years of experience. And they're throwing these resumes in the garbage because they're not formatted right. You're throwing money away by doing that. Telling you, resumes are gold. Get as many resumes as you can and get as many references for those resumes. Even if you can't place these people, someday you will be able to replace them. There you go. So I hope that has helped you out. Again, we didn't even talk about cold calling, all this kind of stuff. It's just through one strategy. Imagine if you're on my mastermind. We go over dozens of strategies on how to double your income. All this month in May, I'm going to be sharing every single day a different strategy as to how you can double your income. And it doesn't matter what industry you are in. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, make sure and subscribe to my channel. If you want to be part of my mastermind, just go to doublemyincomesociety.com/mastermind. And you'll see all the details. Anyways, thanks a lot. I'll see you in another video. Bye for now.